We must protect the supremacy of our Constitution and the rule of law. Our Constitution is a product of our liberation struggle, of which, as the SACP, we have been a proud participant over the last 100 years. And during this time, we lost many lives as a result of violence by the colonizers, the apartheid regime, and its surrogates. We value each life equally that we lose, before and even after 1994, and both inside and outside our country. We lost, amongst others, the life of our very own General Secretary, Comrade Chrisani, due to violence, counter-revolutionary violence. His assassins were aiming at perpetuating apartheid. With the sterling leadership of our movement, the masses rejected the invitation to a civil war, which was the intention of the assassination of our late General Secretary. And we today are calling upon the same. Let's reject any attempt at driving our country towards civil conflict. Our Constitution is not something we can allow any person or grouping to gamble with or undermine. Defending the supremacy of the Constitution and the rule of law is therefore a national imperative. That's our main message as we launch the centenary month of the SACP. We strongly condemn the groupings and individuals who are inciting violence to undermine our Constitution. As things stand, we have not recovered at all from the consequences of apartheid violence, including the violence the apartheid regime sponsored through its surrogates. All over the country, but even more so in a province like KwaZulu-Natal. Many families encountered permanent loss of life. That is, the life of their loved ones that they lost is irreplaceable. The majority of the loss was experienced by Black families in the main. Never again must any person be allowed to return us to the dark past we experienced. The leaders, former leaders, and members of any formation in our broader movement in whose name reckless elements are inciting violence must distance themselves from such treachery, counter-revolutionary conduct. We call upon all leaders not to allow their names to be used in calls for violence. As communists, we must actually quote some of those who have gone before us, who once said, if you were a revolutionary day before yesterday and continue to be a revolutionary yesterday, indeed you were a revolutionary. But if today you become a counter-revolutionary, we won't say because you were a revolutionary day before yesterday and yesterday that you are still a revolutionary. We will call you what you are, a counter-revolutionary. This is a lesson that all of us as leaders will have to learn. In the same vein, we strongly condemn the abuse of the name of our joint ANC and SACP Liberation Army, Umkhonto weSizwe, which we dissolved in favor of our transition to democracy and integrated it into the South African National Defence Force. Real MK veterans know that life is invaluable and irreplaceable. They will not go around carelessly inciting violence and mobilizing to undermine the very hard-won democratic transition that the MK fought for. Let the name of MK not be allowed to be used to pursue what essentially is a counter-revolutionary agenda. We say this because we know as communists what war is and what war means. Masingadlali ngempi, ngoba impi iyabulala. Masisebenze ngokuzinikela ekuthuthukiseni izwe lakithi, ngokuthi silwe nesitha sangempela okuyindlala nokwesweleka kwemisebenzi. Masiqinise imizabalazo yethu yokulwa nokuhlukunyezwa kwabantu besifazane. masibe ngamalunga embutho yethu ngokweqiniso, siyivikele, singabi amalungu amanye amalungu embuthweni. Laba bathi makuliwe, sifuna ukubabuza ukuthi bathi makuliwe nobani, ukuze kube njani ezweni. Kufanele sizibuze ukuthi laba bathi makuliwe bathunywe ubani. Ukuba ubaba uGwala usaphila, ngabe uyasibuza namhlanje. Athi mshana, laba bathi akuliwe bathunywe ubani. Abantu bakithi kufanele bazibuze, baziphendule lo mbuzo, ngoba kubalulekile ukuze senze isiqiniseko sokuthi izwe lakithi linoxolo. Masingavumeli ukuthi imibutho yethu ibe yihlathi lezigangi ezingaqonde ukuthi kube nenqubekela phambili ezweni lakithi. Lo umyalezo wethu thina amakomanisi, njengoba siqeda iminyaka eyikhulu saba khona, sizabalaza nabantu balelizwe. The gunshots that we've had by the elements inciting violence must be condemned in the strongest terms and must be investigated thoroughly and without fear or favor. Those responsible must be brought to book. No stone must be left unturned in defending our democracy. To be a revolutionary is to know when to use guns and to know that this is no time for guns. It's time to build a peaceful and a democratic South Africa. Corruption is another key challenge threatening our democracy. We wish to reiterate our support for the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture and Corruption. The Commission must be allowed to conclude its work. The law enforcement organs of state, including the prosecutors, must follow up on the report of the Commission once finalized and submitted. Those who are responsible or complicit in corruption, as investigated by the Commission, must be held to account. We therefore expect consequence management, including through prosecution and asset forfeiture. We wish to reiterate, as the South African Communist Party, our support for the principle that no person is above the law. Let us all close ranks to defend our gains and our democracy. Dear comrades and friends, we have our own legacy in pushing the struggle for liberation to take cue from. We will say more about this on the 1st of August as to who we are as the South African Communist Party, to add to the words that have already been made by President of the ANC, by COSATU, as well as our Young Communist League.